This is a new series, so let me know if you like it by liking it. These are a collection of short stories stitched together. They don't necessarily have to be groundbreaking and fresh, but I don't want to cover news that's already been discussed to death. This is an experimental idea talking about the community's stories from around the Helldivers universe. If it's good, this could be a proper series and we can keep going. Anyways, here we go. Picture a lonely corner on the battlefield, a desolate planet far from the safety of Super Earth. The fighting is over. The day is won. A cool breeze floats through the night's air as a campfire crackles and burns quietly. Sparks rise and fall, floating through the air until they settle on tarnished armor and become one with the inky blackness. 4 divers sit around the campfire, cracking jokes, sharing stories. They're alert, of course, as this is still a war zone, but little by little, they begin to relax. Extraction would come in the morning. For now, they can let the company of their friends wash over them like the soothing water of a hot spring. They might not live to see the sun rise, but as they laugh and smile together, they sense a shred of the infinite in this fragile moment shared between them. If they wanted to, they could make it last forever. These are their stories. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a new major order. Listen, we want to create some new stories, we want to create our own stories, and we want to pay some bills around this station. And we're not trying to have Evan 3 hit the broadcast anytime soon. So consider downloading Tribes 3 Rivals. There is promised lightning fast gameplay and strategy with our favorite stratagem, the jetpack, and a new one, skiing. The game promises high intensity combat, weaponry, that feeling of shooting someone out of midair with classes in light, medium, and heavy. There's a high skill ceiling to master each weapon, class, movement, etc. Tribes 3 Rivals came out on March 12th in early access. And like I said, this game has some insane movement. Now, if only I could get my jetpack stratagem to work the same way in Helldivers, then I'd actually be extracting. You can check out the game in the description of this video with the link, and for any diver who dares click it, I want to say a big thank you, because it seriously helps the channel keep doing what we're doing. Thanks for listening, and now back to the stories. Before we begin, I want to reassure all the divers out there that you can still have sex. Yes, we failed our most recent major order, but rest assured, approximately 1 million people have been sent to re-education camps for not sufficiently contributing to the war effort. That's right, divers, we f***ed up. It didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't our fault. That being said though, High Command informed us that due to us failing this order, further procreation applications will be denied until further notice. Obviously, this doesn't seem good at first glance. However, well-known diver Gothalion made a very good point on Twitter. Quote, Super Earth is not allowing procreation due to the lack of new planets to expand to. They never said anything about recreational. This kind of sensationalist journalism should be reported to your nearest democracy officer. That's right, divers. Recreational should be completely fine, if that's something you're at liberty to do. Remember, on the battlefield, the only thing your hands should be touching is your weapon, and your precious samples, of course. I do want to note that if any divers are punished or penalized for activities that are not officially sanctioned by High Command, I am in no way, shape, or form responsible. If lawyers still existed, you'd be hearing from mine. Anyways, time for the rest of the video. Let's kick things off with something that might have flown under the radar of some Helldiver fans who aren't as active on Twitter. Back in late February, Celeste, the CEO and creative director of Arrowhead Studios, made a post on Twitter indicating that he was considering getting a Helldivers 2 tattoo. He showed off the design using a frame from the cult movie Starship Troopers. It's pretty clear that Helldivers took inspiration from Starship Troopers with war waging against the bugs. I mean, a just and fair government protecting its loyal citizens from the horrors that existed beyond the edges of civilization. I've already been re-educated again. Don't send me back, please. Anyway, none other than Casper Van Dien replied to Celeste, welcoming him to the Roughnecks. For those who aren't aware, Van Dien is one of the main actors in Starship Troopers, playing the teenage hero who eventually joins an elite group of infantry soldiers known as the Roughnecks.
Let me tell you something. I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all! Yeah! Oh, yeah!
Celeste thanked him for being a part of one of the best movies of all time, and then the two discussed a potential crossover between the game and the movie at some point in the future. So keep your eyes peeled, divers. On the subject of Starship Troopers, as it turns out, the movie's viewership has skyrocketed after the release of Helldivers 2. On February 18th, the movie was at number 109 on the list of most popular movies online, according to television stats. But one day later, the movie had jumped all the way to number 45. Even more impressive was the fact that on the 20th of February 2024, Starship Troopers ranked as the 21st most popular movie online, ranking it in the same league as projects like Oscar-nominated Killers of the Flower Moon. It's pretty clear to see that the interest in Helldivers 2 has translated to interest in the 1997 movie. Hey, that's a pretty good number. And personally, I'm crossing my fingers that we see some kind of collaboration in the future. Moving on to a topic that I think needs to be quickly addressed once and for all, Gantz the Demon. Evidence has come out which suggests that he is innocent and was merely retaliating against a random diver who'd killed his friend. Super Earth Broadcasts on TikTok conducted an exclusive interview with Gantz himself, and it's plain to see that there's been a horrendous miscarriage of justice.
He said, so D2, he's a close friend of mine. He's the one that got killed by Yo AJ. I am friends with Yo AJ as well.
I think I speak for all divers when I say that this entire witch hunt situation has been profoundly undemocratic, and I hope that any other individuals who attempt to frame their fellow divers will be sent to re-education centers for their own benefit. Look, I'm just saying Evan 1 got replaced. Speaking of re-education, I have seen disturbing reports online that showcase certain weapons and stratagems currently not in Super Earth's extensive arsenal, as well as certain types of enemies that simply cannot exist. I'm talking about the leaks and rumors. I mean, come on people, it's just absurd. You really expect us to believe that there are flying bugs? Anyone with half a brain cell can draw a pair of wings on a stalker pouncing at an unsuspecting diver, but it takes a real chucklehead to believe that they really exist. As for the blue lasers, they have reportedly been shooting down automaton dropships. Maybe the air on certain planets in the galaxy makes you temporarily colorblind, because those are most certainly red lasers. Besides, we know the bots are worse at aiming than stormtroopers. So I'm going to chalk this video up to a simple misunderstanding, as opposed to enemy propaganda, which would be treasonous, of course. For all of you who are still somewhat doubtful, just look at what our glorious commander-in-chief had to say on Twitter. If we can't trust what Pillestead has to say, then what else is there left in the galaxy that we can? Who are we? What is our purpose in this forever war? Luckily for you, you don't have to answer that question, because you can rest easy. You're a Helldiver, and Helldivers are loyal without question. The Ministry of Truth would like to add, asking certain questions are considered to be acts of treason and may be punished with re-education and or death. We've even seen some screenshots of a potential new race that's coming to the game. Now, everyone knows the Illuminate mysteriously disappeared after the First Galactic War, and it's pretty obvious that these are just strange edits of enemies from a game like, Destiny 2. I mean, come on, this is basically a Scion on steroids. Last I checked, there was no Scions in Helldivers 2. This is just a strange attempt at securing a crossover. Nothing more, right? Something else I want to draw attention to is the insane Helldivers 2 artwork that people have been crafting since the game's launch. I think the art is such an integral part of growing a game's community, and it seems like there's a lot of incredibly talented people who love spreading managed democracy across the galaxy. I've seen some of the most phenomenal digital artwork ever, such as pieces by Fuego, or this one by Everdrift, also known as Destiny the Meme, and of course TikTok's legendary Mayoni, who may or may not have some collaborations coming in the future or in this video. You never know. It's always cool when the people behind the game interact with the community like this, and it gives people a chance to see just how much talent there is out there. There has been some insane things people have done across so many different mediums. Just look at this replica Helldivers 2 helmet, made by Off-Earth 3D and the Holy Beard Band on Twitter. If that doesn't inspire you to spill oil and crush bug guts like there's no tomorrow, I don't know what will. Or if our red-blooded Super Earth patriotism isn't your sort of thing, take a look at these Helldivers 2 themed patches before you get sent off to Liberty conditioning. In all seriousness though, there is a huge market for merchandise related to Helldivers 2, and although there's been some that's released already, the potential for great merch is virtually unlimited. Maybe one day we'll try our own hand at making merch for Helldivers 2. I don't know. Personally, I think a Seaf artillery shell would make a great paperweight. If you have any artwork for Helldivers 2 or any merchandise in general, ideas, that sort of thing, just be sure to tag me on Twitter or Instagram or wherever you want to. Maybe come join my Discord too. Well, divers, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I want to say thank you for your time. This is a new format that I'm trying out, and as both the game and the community continue to evolve over time, rest assured, I'll be there trying to cover all the scraps of news that come my way. That's the beauty of live service games. They always keep evolving with the community, with the stories. We've seen Malevelon Creek, we've seen the liberation of Tien Quan, now the terminated control system, and I'm sure that by the time this video comes out, there will be some new menace wreaking havoc across the galaxy. Divers, you know your duty. Fight without limits and never back down when you see those who oppose our way of life. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Every bomb's coming down on the top. Stay away from it.
Alright, everybody in the